Hello and welcome to RunDiffusion's Community Day, November 2nd. We're just coming out of Halloween times, and I am going to be talking with the dev from Makeo here. Kashi, hello, welcome.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you all. Well, like Revolve said, my name is Ryan Kashi. I'm the founder of Makeo. So this is a newer AI app that has popped up on RunDiffusion lately. And the goal of Makeo overall is we're trying to really streamline, you know, the user experience centered around art and making it less about having through tons and tons of different YouTube tutorials and GitHub packages and crazy Python versions and just streamlining everything into one centralized place. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and that's when we started talking to you. I mean, that was really what we felt aligned perfectly with what we do, right? Because RunDiffusion, like we make it so no one has to install anything. You don't need to know what a Python virtual environment is. That's handled on the back end, right? And so the philosophies really aligned. I think that there is like um, definitely a need for good interfaces. I've been talking to people from like marketing agencies and film and different creative industries, and they point out the fact that it's like I show them the interface for something like automatic, and they're like, yeah, like what about a nice clean UI? Is that kind of what your thinking was? Like, do you have a design background, or what was the kind of the thinking that went behind like, okay, this needs to happen. I need to make an app.
Yeah, so the thought process for me was, we had all seen that Midjourney came out. Just how crazy some of these images were. And then I kind of wanted to be able to play around with it in like a custom way of working with everything. And so when I first discovered Automatic 1111, I went around and I went in with the mind of trying to like, okay, I had seen all these like really cool AI animations, and I wanted to see if I could just make it really easy for people to make AI animations. And so I discovered Automatic 1111. And this was very intimidating for me to look at first for being completely new to AI art. And I had no idea what I was doing at all. So what I did is I went and talked to some of my other like AI friends, and then they kind of gave me like a bit of a tutorial on how to use all this stuff. And then I would go on to YouTube and I'd search up more tutorials and everything. But then very quickly I realized that just how powerful this tool is and how, even myself with a technical background, with familiarity with writing code and everything, like there was still a lot of learning that needed to be done. And I just thought that for someone that wasn't as technical for me, I think it would have just been so much harder for them to get. It would probably take them like 3 or 4 days just to like download a control net and it really isn't that simple. It really should be that simple of just, hey, I want to use a control net. I know exactly what it does, and I pop out an image. So that's when I first got the idea to create Makeo.
All right, right on. Yeah, that definitely
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah,
yeah.
there's such a need for it, and I think like as a community, onboarding people in a great way so that they are comfortable with the platform, so that they get good results, is so important. Because that's really the way that we can like sort of nurture the AI art community. Um, I think that like one of the things that I see with platforms is sort of people make art with like one of the generative apps, and then they sort of feel like, oh, that's neat, but maybe they don't feel like a sense of ownership over it. They don't feel like it's their art. They sort of feel, oh, it's just like passive, like I'm consuming it, like watching something on TV. It's not mine. But when you really show them like the power of stable diffusion and what you can create with it, that's sort of the magic moment when they understand like, oh, I can create art with this, like I can make my art with this. And that's one of the most powerful transformative moments in people kind of understanding AI. So let's dive into this because I mean I've got it on the screen here. I think everyone can see it on the Discord. Um, so walk me through this like I'm a like I'm a beginner, and I'd love to kind of get to understand Makeo and show off what we can do.
Yeah. So definitely the first place to start, and this is where it would usually pop up, like when you launch it for the first time. You want to go ahead and click on Create Art. Um, so once we're inside of here, you're going to see the list of previous generations that you might have made, and then over on the left side taskbar is kind of the very high level features that you might use with Automatic 1111 if you're familiar with it. So you have your positive prompt of things that you want in it, negative prompt, um, add image if you want to do like an image to image transformation, and then if you want to click into add extras really quickly.
Yep.
So what this is really cool where instead these are all of your different LoRa's. And so you can just very visually see which ones that you want to add versus which ones you don't, and it's just a very nice, presentable way of showing. Inside of settings,
Mm-hmm.
you have your, yep, inside of, so, and also everything kind of closes no problem, and just makes it so you can really focus on the things that you want to focus at a certain time. Inside of settings, we have the high level stuff that you are interested in. So aspect ratio. Now, instead of having to manually type in the width and the height, we already know which one Stable Diffusion likes. So we go ahead and just, you slide the aspect ratio one way or another. Image count, how large you want your batch to be. Then you can close and hide the advanced stuff. So your prompt strength, your generation steps, and then your seed samplers and VAEs. And then if you're doing face fixing, you can just turn that on and off with realistic faces.
Is that like the
Um,
restore faces option?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that is correct.
So
And then
GFP,
finally,
sorry, GFP GAN, that kind of thing, or
yes, exactly.
okay.
Um, and so lastly, you have the upscaler setting. So this is, where we there's a couple of different ways to upscale, and so one of them is right here directly on the image itself, and then the second one is actually inside of the edit image, which I think we'll go through in a second. So, would you like to go ahead and generate an image just to kind of show how everything looks?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Let's go up here and type in prompt. Man, it's a little early in the morning for me. Let's see what we've got. Paradise instant. Add a what's his name? Brahms, Apple guy. I don't know.
I don't
Um,
know.
the classic Apple designer guy. That's more like a product design.
I see.
Yeah, try that. Okay.
I always keep my prompts super simple. Oh, go ahead.
Now we've got a bunch of different LoRa's here, including some that I've trained, but let's throw something. You just, oh, we'll leave it for now. We'll just, okay, generate. Like the control enter, that's how I send my emails. So very straightforward. That one to have a hotkey.
Yep. And so that's the image. So what we do under the hood is for people that aren't as familiar with creating AI art. So what we did over here is we actually had a negative prompt, but in the events that you don't have a negative prompt, we're usually gonna pop in just like a general, like an easy negative or a bad hands V4, because in my mind, you should always have at least some sort of negative prompt, and if you're not aware of it, then I think that generally people will be happier with just a good image. Um, versus one that they are less familiar with AI art and kind of just give it bare bones instead. So the next cool thing that you can do, if you want to if you want to add an image, maybe we can show off like the control nets.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds great.
Yeah.
E-
Oh, before that, here, how about try copy and pasting? So you can, does that work with,
yeah, we'll see.
oh yeah, it works fine. Yeah, so control C and then you can just go ahead and control V.
Nice.
And then it just plops your image right in. So now you can go into pose matching if you know, let's say maybe for this, a candy filter would look a little bit more obvious.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we can switch that. And then at the very last part, scroll up, or you can close that pop-up and then scroll up.
Okay.
And make sure you enable SDXL because this is an SDXL based model. And so this is going to ensure that the control nets that we're using are compatible with SDXL.
Hmm.
So if you want to try maybe like a lava, like a lava, a pool of lava or something, right? So we can kind of would change the color of the the lake.
Apocalyptic landscape, lava lake, castle. Just getting in the Halloween. It's still got the Halloween vibe, you know. Okay. So
Yeah.
we've got the morph strength is like denoising basically, or is it like control
Yeah,
net? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
it's denoising.
Cool. So the resolution, if we've done SDXL now, right? Oh yeah, it automatically
Yep,
kind of pops up there. Very nice. All right,
yep.
and maybe we can steps a little bit. Right. Cool. Let's give it a go. That.
Yeah, the control enter is such a nice little it's a nice little shortcut to have.
Definitely. And if anyone out there has any questions, don't hesitate to ask. This is your opportunity. We have the dev on here. So,
So it looks like we probably need a little bit more denoising strength. Over
okay.
there you can see
Yep.
what the control net was provided and how it was able to shape exactly, you know, like the control nets work, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Try it again.
Yeah, so inside of Makeo, you can have up to three different control nets working at a time. So we've tried to simplify the process. Unfortunately, I messed up with the build that I have that's on RunDiffusion and it isn't loading the images properly. What if you put blue inside of the negative prompt? I'm curious if it would get rid of the lake. Um, Yeah, I don't know, maybe. I am not an artistic expert. I'm much more of the developer here.
Yeah.
Um, so I am always just playing around with different settings and things like that, but I really have no idea like aesthetically what this is going to look like. Yeah.
I think we just need to make the
Uh,
denoising a bit
um,
higher. It's kind of what it feels like.
yeah. Uh,
Goes.
hmm
Because it'll still use
Yeah, I
the
don't want to get
canny, right? Even if we have like morph one, it'll still derive the generation from the
yes,
canny.
exactly.
Yeah.
Another way we can solve this is if this one doesn't, we can actually take this image.
There we go. Oh,
Um,
it's still got blue water.
oh, okay.
Got lava
Well, let's
around
go
the
ahead and
lake.
copy that. Yeah, we can try going and in painting with this. So let's go ahead and copy the image
Hmm?
using, yeah, so with Control C would work fine. And then if we go into the home page,
Yep.
yep, so now we can go ahead and start editing images. So you can go ahead and Control V that one in now. Um, yep. And so now this is where we go in for editing images. So what we're seeing right here is you can just very easily in paint over the area. And then this, you know, is just very standard in painting. It just uh, has a little bit more features under the hood in terms of what's going on. Um, so now we can probably change this to like, I don't know, whatever we want here. And it's the same as how general in painting works, but it just looks a little bit nice.
Hey, so let's try it. Oh,
And so now what's really cool about our in painting is you can, if you want to increase the image count to say like 4 or 5, or you can even just do them one at a time.
oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so you can show and hide your what you're doing with your in painting. But what's really cool as well is let's say that you're in painting something and you maybe have like 4 or 5 different choices that you want to choose from on your in paint. Do you want to try generating again just to kind of give off like a few more
Yeah,
choices that we could have?
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Like,
yeah. And then go ahead and click no.
oh,
Oh no. Oh. So what I
oh, that
oh yeah.
updates
So
the
go ahead
image.
and
I see.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no no. So redraw, and then after one batch completes, go redraw another batch as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then we have more options.
Yeah.
I see. Because updating it replaces the image
Exactly.
that you're editing. Right. Which is great. I mean,
Exactly. Exactly.
when I'm used to that in automatic, there's lots of like back and forth and so on. So this is great. And we can like switch between them to see like, oh, I like this, but maybe
Yep.
we want to try to get some more like
Yep.
that. So we redraw. Oh,
Exactly. And then
great. Yeah.
so that you can see the change better, you can actually hide the mask as well. So that would be that show and hide that we saw. Yeah. So now you can have like a really good choice between, okay, like this one I really like versus this one not so much. You can kind of click through them.
Ooh,
Cancel
yeah.
means, oh, I don't like any of them. And then update means, okay, we get one that we really like, and then now this is the new image that you're updating. Um, so now if we scroll up on the left side here, we can actually say, hey, this looks, oh, yeah, go ahead.
I got to do the
Yeah.
castle here. I feel like the castle needs
That's cool. Yeah, I like that too.
evil castle with spires of Geo prompt. Good vibes. None allowed. Okay. So now it's going to draw us a couple options here. Yeah, I definitely find the end painting very easy in this. It's like, and I think it's so important. It's something that's like automatic sort of stumbles on a little bit. But you can do in painting in it. The canvas and stuff. It's like here you've got the whole screen space to do things, which is awesome.
Yeah, and so this is, I think that people are really liking Makeo for, the in painting specifically,
Hmm.
because they would edit an image or get like an image that they kind of like, and then just because the in painting just looks so clean, it's very easy to tell the difference between the two images. People are loving it.
Hmm.
Um, and so if you want to now say, oh, I like this image, let's go ahead and upscale it. Um,
Okay.
so at the yeah, right above model, you can go into upscale.
Mhm.
Yep. And then you might want to enable SDXL again, because sometimes if we are using a control net, it just know, hey, we're not going to attach a non-SDXL control net to this. So now if we scroll down, um, so it automatically matches the prompt that you used most recently for your HD upscale. But what's really cool here is now at the very bottom inside of upscaler settings, we can either do just kind of a traditional upscale, which is using like ESR GAN, like 4X or the anime one, or all of your different lists of upscalers.
Hmm.
So on RunDiffusion, we have a lot of different choices to select from. But if you also want to do like a image to image on top of this, you can turn on HD upscaling. So now this is kind of the image to image of the second pass inside of your upscale. So what's going to happen here is first you upscale by 2x, 4x with ESR GAN or whichever upscaler you've chosen. And then from there, you're going to do a slight image to image pass. And with to put in the tile control net for you automatically because I think it's just so key for HD upscaling.
Hmm.
Um, but until a good tile model comes out for SDXL, we're just not using tiling for it. So your HD morph strength is going to have to be a little bit smaller.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a go.
Yep. And so this one's probably going to take a little bit of time just because upscaling takes a while and it's just how it is. Um,
Yeah, and
but these are.
we're on a large box right now, so I don't VRAM. You can see the bottom
Mhm,
11 now. 25.4, so we got lots,
mhm,
probably even larger.
mhm. Um, well, while this is running, so the really cool thing about having Makeo on RunDiffusion, and this is actually a great point to start speaking off of, because we have these different box sizes. It really allows us to use these, very VRAM intensive models. So things such as like a Difforum or Animate Diffusion, where you need a lot more VRAM than just like your run like 1080 or like RTX 1080. So by partnering with RunDiffusion, it really allows us to streamline the process for these like very, very powerful extensions. And so what we're really interested in is making Animate Diffusion a lot more accessible for general users that maybe don't want to like, oh, they just learned Deform or they just learned Control Net, and now I have to learn Animate Diffusion as well, and it's just, it starts to become a little bit hectic in terms of all the different YouTube videos you need to watch for the extensions that you need to learn.
Mhm.
And so we really want to streamline this entire process. Um, so instead of going through a bunch of different tutorials and features, it's all just right here and it works no problem. Um, yeah, and you can also change your model as much as you'd like as well. Um, So model loading, we figured, okay, we want like a nice UX around that. So it's pretty simple. We should probably get like a loading bar as well, but I think that this looks nice. And then, yeah,
Yeah,
it's very.
spinning wheels, good. I think it makes sense. So this is the new merge of RunDiffusion and Juggernaut, which has been getting a lot of acclaim out there. It's a 30% merge of our RunDiffusion photo model, which just shows our power. We've got a very exciting kind of release planned for Go. So leading up to that, I think we're going to have some interesting experiences. Keep your eye out for those things. Um, so let's use it here, and I think we should like kind of show off the posing because I see that that's like kind of a front center aspect of Makeo is like doing kind of more portrait stuff. Maybe we can do like some sort of fashion thing. One of the thing that's interesting about Run Juggernaut merge is the clothing and fabrics and like all that very fine detail stuff is extremely um, well put together in the model. How can I say it? It reproduces quite well, generate an image. So if we do
Yeah.
like some sort of fashion runway model and wearing the latest Versace dress, cinematic lighting, Arch Nouveau, organic forms for the stage, or no, organic formed stage. Let's try that. And
Um, should we maybe do this inside of text to image instead? So instead of
oh,
edit image,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah. We don't want to turn our lava into.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. All right, so the
Yep.
model loads right away. We could just put that in there. Perfect. Just copy pasted it. Oh, actually, let's keep that in there. We will out. I don't think there's anything else in the negative we need here. Okay, so now settings. Want to be putting in a
So to pop in a control, you have to add an image for it.
right.
Yeah.
We could either, well, for open pose. So I guess we want to generate it first without the control
Yeah.
net. Then we'll be. So let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Generate couple. Switched. Yeah, let's. Cool. Yeah, I do like how like quick it is to kind of get things going, and I feel like if someone's um that cleaner face and the like speed without all the necessary extra stuff, this is like a really, these are cool.
Exactly, and kind of just like what you mentioned, that enthusiasts will always love Matic 1111 the most, and rightfully so. It's almost like I think of it as it's sort of like a supercar that only engineers can drive. And we're trying to make, more like a Tesla or a nice Mercedes Benz, where it still is really nice. It's not a Ferrari, but it's still something that works well and it's significantly easier to drive.
Yeah, I mean, to carry on with that example, right? Like automatic, it is a Ferrari, but if you try to like just gun it in a F1 car or something, you're gonna end up crashing the car, right? Like all the you jump in, you try to load 3 extensions and get things going, you might have a hard time. Um, but here, it's like it's a smoother experience. Grass is nuts, kind of like it. So I think like here we would want to upscale it, right? Like get maybe better reproduction in the face, for example.
Yeah.
So okay, so
So I forgot. You have to turn SDXL mode off for this, but that's okay. Um, Try that. Yeah, so
for
let me
real,
see if
yeah.
oh, this is a little nuance that I didn't realize. I think that with while using SDXL models, you're generally going to want to copy and paste it into the upscaler, um, like the edit image
Mm-hmm.
form.
Okay.
And notably because this is just like a really quick and dirty, like save to your local drive type of upscale. And so what's going on under the scenes is it's using the tiling. It's tiling while using an HD upscale, but while we're using an SDXL model, it'll inform you that that's not going to work. But yeah,
Okay, well, we can take it into edit here.
yeah,
I'm gonna maybe generate a few more just so uh,
yep.
I upscale it. And
No,
SDXL is just what's interesting here is like I'm curious, SDXL is disabled, but we have an SDXL model here. What is kind of going on under there under the hood that you can get away with that in yeah.
yeah. So that switch is just changing the set of control nets that you're going to use as well as the image resolution.
Yeah.
So until there's a better way to distinguish whether a model is SDXL or not, we're kind of stuck having to do some sort of manual input. Um, but once we're able to determine like programmatically that hey, like this model is an SDXL model versus not, we can just do this automatically and get rid of the switch. which in my personal opinion would be a much nicer user experience. Um, and then, soon enough, once the transition from 1.5 to SDXL is pretty much done, I don't think it would be necessary either.
Yeah, I know like a lot of different platforms have gone through that where they've had like, SD Next is a classic example of like the diffusers pipeline and um, you know difficulties that were had in like between models and so forth. It's starting to calm down now, thankfully. What's going on, under the hood? Like, are you using diffusers or what like kind of method do you want to talk about the like technical pieces of Makeo?
Yeah, so the really interesting thing about Makeo is we're using a swappable backend. So what this means is that you might have your own diffusion backend that you like, and Makeo is able to connect, your more engineery diffusion backend with a really smooth user interface. So for example, you mentioned SD Next earlier, like Makeo can be used with SD Next as your backend or with Automatic 1111 in your backend. And we're working on bringing Comfy UI as one of the supported backends as well. And so coming with that, with the Comfy UI backend, we get that's where with Makeo start to get really, really interesting because now you can have enthusiasts build out the highly pipelines, um, like different like specific models in terms of what they do and operate with.
Mm-hmm.
And then Makeo kind of removes all the bells and whistles and the spaghetti in your comfy UI interface and allows you to just focus on like the two or three things that you actually need in order to create your output. So this could be either like a prompt or an input image or, like a simple toggle. Um, so that's kind of the next stage of backends that we want to support. And it's definitely going to be a lot of work that's going to be put into this.
Hmm.
So that's yeah, that's kind of how the Makeo interface works. So if you've ever heard of Stability AI they released something that was a little bit similar, but in my opinion, very watered down and very focused towards getting you onto Stability AI and have them, use their back end and use like essentially pay to use this. That wasn't something that I um, personally liked because of how watered down their back end was. So we're doing something a little bit nicer and a lot more tailored towards just how many open source tools there are in the AI space.
I think that's really important, and I'm glad you kind of elaborated on that because I think that this is something where all these platforms are making really powerful stuff. I mean, like I'm finding incredible workflows that our users share and um, that people are sharing for Comfy UI, right? Just like amazing things. But then, like, something goes wrong with it. And you're like, where do I
Yeah,
start, right? Like, there's so
yeah.
many nodes, there's so many different things to address. And it's really frustrating. So, there is a need for these like interfaces built on top of these things, automatic 1111 as well, right? Like it is powerful, but um, to kind of bring together a lot of the features is going to be key. What would you say, like as far as a roadmap for Makeo, if you want to share or talk about kind of what you're working on, um, be definitely interested to hear that. What you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah, so as of late, I've been extremely interested in animate diffusion. And so under the hood, we're really trying to incorporate that inside of Makeo. And I think that this works really well with RunDiffusion specifically because of just how long an animation can take and all the nuances that are centered around that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I'm just so interested in animated diffusion right now that that's kind of, I think, the next step in terms of what's going to be incorporated into Makeo. Um,
Awesome. Yeah, you said you got into it because of animation, right? Were you originally looking at like Deforum and that kind of thing?
Exactly. So like when I like I'm talking the first week of learning about AI art. I was essentially all in Absinthe and trying to make like a almost like a stable warp fusion type of video.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so using Absinthe to essentially create moving pictures, but then so what I do is I take like a TikTok dance, run a control net on it, and then try to, have it capture a image like from image one to image to frame one to frame two, to frame 60. And things would just kind of smear, or the image itself would just be really, really jumpy. And so I just kind of tabled it for the time being and saw that, hey, I'm kind of banging my head around just getting all these different workflows and features working inside of Automatic 1111, that I think that a better niche would be to just make all of this stuff easy to use. Um, that's really how it came to be.
Awesome. Awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how you approach that. I mean, animate diff is such like a wild thing right now. It's updating so fast.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah, and so I think the general idea that we have right now is, and that's part of the reason why I'm so interested in Comfy UI at the moment, is because a lot of animated diff is in Comfy UI, and being able to wrap these different workflows into you know, a that doesn't require a significant change in your standard workflows, or a change in, just the tools that you're used to. I think that would be just so powerful. And so now you might have like 10 different workflows that you'll have, or that someone else created using animated diffusion, and then you can just kind of swap through them as if you're just changing a model inside of Makeo, or it's just super simple. Um, so that's really where I see the entire space heading as a whole, actually. Um, and I'm very interested to see how all of that turns out.
awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited
Hmm.
too. It's so much fun to play around with it. In Comfy, especially. I mean, the animate diff in automatic, it's just sort of stale, right? It's not going. But in Comfy,
Exactly.
people are adding new stuff all the time, creating new interesting work. Um, yeah, so it's pretty exciting. Okay, so I am going to upscale this, and then I'm thinking, what else want to show off on Makeo, or is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the platform?
Yeah, so we also have an integrated model browser. So after this upscale finishes, we can show it off.
Hmm.
So I know that you guys have one with Civitai as well. Ours, if you just want to stay inside of Makeo, we have the same thing. It's just a easy to use model browser, so you can either browse for different models, or browse for the different LoRa's or whatever other features you might want um, off of Civitai. And I think that it's really key to have this built into the actual diffusion instance that you're running, because the one of the really cool things about using your Makeos or your automatic 1111s is this access to all these community-based models that are out there. And so it really makes sense in my mind to have the two almost paired right next to each
Definitely. Okay, I think we need a control net here or something because we got this extra long O arm.
arm. I see.
so,
Um,
so we would want to bring it back to the text to image mode and then control net it from there.
I would save it first, then copy it in, or you can download it to your,
Oh, we
yeah,
want
I
to
think,
do
yeah, you would save it and then copy it.
the previous one, right? Like,
Oh, I see. Then, yeah,
yeah,
cancel, and
this
then,
one.
yeah, go ahead and just,
Okay. So
yep.
then
And then, yep, top left, create art, and then,
add image.
yep.
Okay. Cool. So down here, match pose is on, right? And maybe we could add in depth map or something. Oh, that, not that. And maybe, yeah, do that. Okay, we've got the prompt. And we should be able to go from here, right?
You can you can also change the aspect ratio so that it matches as well.
Oh, right,
You can
right.
do that inside of settings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep this open. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Nice.
Hmm.
Okay. And then could I upscale it at the same time?
Not with
Not with
SDXL.
XDSL, right? That's as
Yeah.
soon as we get a good tile model. Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. And
Yeah. So
oh,
that's the piece.
yeah, I wanted to mention this is available locally as well, right? You can install it
Mhm.
not just on RunDiffusion. This is something that people with their own GPUs can use at home too.
Yep, exactly. So like automatic 1111, like you can download it and use it at home. Um, so yeah, you can just go to what is makeo.com,
Hmm?
and it's available for Windows machines. It's completely free, and um, yeah, the installer is completely automated as well, so you don't have to worry about downloading something from GitHub or virtual environment or any of that stuff. Um, so yeah, it's super easy to just download. Or if you want to use it on RunDiffusion, you know, they have great, such good cloud infrastructure and all these that are already available. Um, and you just know it's going to work right out of the box with RunDiffusion. So that's the other one that's really nice.
Well, thank you. I did not pay him for that, but just nice that way. Very cool. It's really awesome to see this. I mean, it's like just easy to use and straightforward, and I'm really interested to see where you go with the development of. I think the most intriguing thing for me is that whole back end front end talking about where it will be interchangeable with different apps um, to really get the advantages of each one so many times that I'm just like looking at a comfy thing and just like wishing there was like a progress bar or uh
Yeah,
or like some easy way to not have to feel like I'm playing Factorio to make an image, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just very much needed, and I think that that's a really compelling thing about the future of Makeo. Like, it just gets me stoked for what's to come and here.
Hmm.
Right, let's get our last 4 upscaled images and we'll switch over to model browser things app.
Hmm.
Next one is said done. I do like how this came out. I mean, the dress is like very interesting. Stage designs are pretty wild. It's got that Versace
Hmm.
overdone there. Very cool. Reflective surfaces on the walkway are nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, the in painting is easy enough that I could see really being able to turn this into like a poster sized image with that.
Yeah. And it should be wrapping up pretty soon now. We can even check if you want on the, you can probably check the automatic 1111 stuff to see what automatic 1111 is thinking.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
so it's in the logs here.
yeah, so so happening right now is when you're using realistic faces, it kind of does like a final pass through everything. It's just waiting on the realistic faces stuff.
Okay.
Um,
These are
yeah.
sorry. My bad. I still have some setting enabled somewhere, so
Yeah.
I'm seeing that stuff. We're
Mhm.
always working on the
Anyways,
back end.
we can always come back to this and then yeah, we can show off the model browser as well.
Sure, if I switch away,
So if we go
will
back,
it keep working on it?
no, it's just gonna cancel it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you'll have to set it back up. Um,
It's too bad. See these.
yeah, me too. Um,
Well, let's give it a minute.
sure.
You know, there's like, so you talked about animate diff. Was there anything else
Mhm.
in like in painting that you're thinking of? I know
Um,
about some interesting things for like in painting because it is an area where benefit features and so forth designer workflow.
yeah, we were coming out with this feature called stamping a little bit earlier, but we decided to scrap it.
Hmm.
So this was kind of like a general, hey, you have like an image, and then you want to drag the image on top of the other image and then in paint it in. So we were testing around with this. So this is like something you would normally do in Photoshop where, okay, I have my image, I copy it into Photoshop, then I add the other image layer on top of it, then I copy it back into my AI tool that I'm using for AI generations, then I inpaint on top of that. So we kind of wanted to streamline that entire process into one application. But the UI that we had for it just felt very clunky,
Mm.
and ultimately I decided to scrap everything. And so we had on the end painting portion. It's available in our Patreon if you want to play around with it, but it just really didn't fit in my mind for like a feature, um, like as one of the Makeo features. I
Mm.
just didn't feel like it was up to quality with everything else.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, that's super important. Let's take a look at the model browser. I want to be, conscious of your time and so forth. So if we go to
Mhm.
download models here, this is what you're talking about.
Yep. So now, this is all the different models that are available on Civitai, and so you can sort by most downloaded or by the month or all that stuff. Um, so it's just a very quick and easy way to see which models you like, and then go ahead and like download them. And then as soon as they're done downloading, they're available for use inside of Makeo.
Cool. And then we have the extras too, right? If we go here, we can get
Yep.
Laura's, and you don't have to be blasted by not safe for work or anything.
Yeah.
Nice experience.
Um, yeah, so over here, this one sometimes can take a bit of time to load. It's
Yeah,
you're
there we go.
downloading more stuff, but yeah. So here now it's just the different lore types. So maybe there's clothing on one, or there's styles or characters on another,
Hmm.
and then you can pan through each of the different ones.
Very nice.
Um, yep,
Cool. I dig it.
yep.
All right. Awesome. Any other closing thoughts? Yeah, on Makeo and what's next?
No, yeah, I think that's about it. I think I covered everything that I'd like to chat about. It was really fun talking with you. And I hope that you all like Mikhail. Um, I've been working very hard on it, and I am really excited to see the future of where the app goes. Um, we've definitely gotten a lot of support and have been growing very rapidly for like the less technical people that want to get started with AI art, and that's kind of really been our niche so far. Um, so we're really excited to expand the AI space we can by getting people's toe inside of the space as like your first entry point into using AI.
That's awesome. It's so very, very needed. I mean,
I
the
haven't.
oh, what? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I had such a fantastic time today, and it was really a great time to chat.
Yeah,
Um,
it was awesome having you on. Um, you were there was like a little cutout there, but I've been able to understand what you say, so it's been okay. Uh, and yeah, awesome app. I mean, it's so very needed in this industry to have like proper, easy to use tools to get people into it, to get them to understand Stable Diffusion and the real capabilities of it. I'm going to be watching very closely for updates and new features because, you know, I really appreciate that you do have a novel approach to generating art, and that, you know, you're able to leverage multiple apps. I think that's really exciting, and I think it bodes well for the future of Makeo, because, you know, you're going to be able to really adapt to what these apps are bringing to market and people are creating for it, and be able to add those in, make them just a smooth experience. So yeah, thanks for coming on and showing us Makeo. Makeo is available on RunDiffusion. Pop it up and load it up on a GPU and give it a shot yourself. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in to Community Day, and we will be back next week. Thanks,
Cool.
everyone.
Awesome. Thanks. See ya.
Uh, Oh, we got a question here. Hold on. He disappeared? He
Oh.
disappeared. Oh, well.
Oh.
All right. Well, I'll stop the stream here and